What's happening, beautiful people? Welcome back to the Thrive After Sports podcast. I have a very important topic that's been on my mind lately that I want to talk to you guys about. And it's about creating a life for yourself, not just a job, not just creating a career, but building a life around your career. I'm going to give you some tips about how to do that, not just how I did it, but how you can do it, how you can start thinking differently so that you can have a life lived instead of just slaving away at a job or trying to build a business, not getting any traction. That's what this is going to be about. Now, my solo episodes, when I'm speaking, I tend to be very passionate about these topics. So I do want to encourage you, in case I haven't shared this hack with you before, I want to encourage you to listen to this on double speed. Listen to this on 1.5. That's been something I've been doing for years. If you think about it, if you listen to an hour-long podcast, you put it on double speed, whether you're on YouTube, you just go into settings, click 2x or 1.5, whatever you're more comfortable with. Or if you're listening on, Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you just click the little 2x or 1x button on the bottom until it says 2x or 1.5. What that's going to allow you to do is get through an hour-long episode. I'm not saying this will be an hour. I don't know. I just started recording, but you can get through an episode for an hour in 30 minutes. That's going to save you time. If this ends up being 30 minutes, you can get through this episode in 15 minutes and be on to the next thing. You can listen to the next episode on Thrive After Sports, or go catch up on previous episodes, or go listen to something else, or do something else, or do some work. Guys, that has been a game changer for me. I'm someone who likes absorbing information, learning new things. So I'm always reading. I'm always listening to an audiobook or a podcast or watching something on YouTube University, getting my knowledge up, getting my skills up. And I can't even tell you how much time that saved me. So I just wanted to share that tip with you in case I haven't shared it with you before. Hit that 2x button. It also forces you to pay attention, right? Because if it's on 2x speed, you can't just be drifting or doing something else or letting your mind wander. It forces you to pay attention to every word that's being said because it's coming at you so fast. And I find that I'm able to actually, now sometimes you might miss something, then you'll have to go back and rewind and listen to it again, but it does force you to pay attention. So that's just a quick hack I wanted to share with you. But let's get into this topic today. So at the start of the new year, just like every year, I've been having a lot of conversations with student athletes who just graduated in December, and they're finding themselves wondering what's next. Just like every year, there's a lot of December graduations, people going to the new year, new me, and then they find themselves like, damn, I don't have a job. Right. And these young men and women are lost. And some of them, and we're talking about athletes here, I'll get to non-athletes in a second. Some of these athletes, while they were playing, they had time to do internships. Most of them didn't. As you know, I think universities have done a much better job in recent years of helping athletes actually get internship experience so they can have a taste of the field that they're getting into and figure out if they like it or not once they get out. But a lot of athletes still with the demanding schedules don't have time to intern, either because they're not putting themselves in position to get those opportunities, or they really just don't have the time. It doesn't align with the practice schedule and all that. But even the ones that I'm speaking to who do have internship experience, they get out, they graduate, now they're in the real world, and they're like, what did I get myself into? This job sucks. This job is awful. What was I thinking going into this field? What was I thinking taking this job? And let's just get the elephant out the room. Your first job out of college is probably going to suck no matter what. No matter what, whether you're an athlete or not, your first job fresh out of college is not going to be, you shouldn't look at it as I'm going to work here for 40, 50, 60 years. I don't think you should look at any job that way. I'll tell you what I mean by that in a second, especially this day and age. But your first job is not going to be your dream job. It's just something to give you experience. It's a resume builder, something to build your skill set, build your confidence. But, at the end of the day, it's not going to be the end all be all. So what do you do? And before I get into it, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share this with someone who needs to hear it. If you're listening on the podcast, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you're on YouTube watching this right now, you can go listen to all these episodes on the Thrive After Sports podcast on your favorite podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen, I'm there. Just type in Thrive After Sports, type in Taj Deshaun. So a lot of these people are feeling lost. A lot of these people, these young men and women, these former athletes, they're just like, bruh, this ain't it. I don't know what I want to do with my life. This isn't what I thought it was. And this is not just a recent grad thing. I've worked with athletes who were not just 21 or 22 or 23 coming out of college, but 25, 26, 27. I've worked with former professional athletes, former Olympians. We're talking about people who are 28, 29 into their 30s. The oldest athlete I've worked with is 35 years old. He was a former, I don't want to tell too much about him. He didn't come on the podcast. He wasn't comfortable sharing his story, but so it's a lot of people are going through this. In fact, career dissatisfaction is such a huge problem that I'm actually going to start offering career coaching. You guys know I've been doing transition coaching for 5+ years now for former athletes, which is a combination of life coaching, career coaching, counseling. I do a little bit of everything. I look at the whole picture, not just career. But it's such a problem in this world. I'm realizing that I'm actually going to start offering career coaching to everyone, like non-athletes. I've actually partnered with the company. I'm giving you a sneak peek. I wasn't planning on announcing this, but I've partnered with a company called Happen to Your Career. Go look it up right now. Go to happentoyourcareer.com. Great career coaching company. And I'm going to start doing some contract coaching for them as well, so I can work with the general population, because I've realized, as passionate as I am about helping athletes, I'm also passionate about everyone being able to work in a capacity where you're not hating your job, where it's not Sunday night and you're dreading going into work on Monday morning. You're actually enjoying what you're doing. You're operating in your gifts. You're doing something that's meaningful to you. You're making impact and income. That's what's important to me. And that's always been at the root of what I do with athletes. But I'm like, you know what? Let me help other people with that now. I've helped non-athletes over the years, but I really want to start putting more of an emphasis on that. So I'll tell you more about that. I actually have a podcast coming up, owner and the founder of Happen to Your Career. That'll be coming up within the next couple of months or so. Great guy, great mission. We share the same mission of helping people find work that's meaningful. And so I want to start out with just some very simple advice. And this is for more so people. It's not just for people who are going into their careers, like coming out of college. This is also for people who may be in the middle of like trying to figure out the next step. So my simple advice is this: aim to build a career around the lifestyle that you want, or you'll end up, like most people, you'll end up trying to build a life around your job. Do you get what I mean by that? So most people say, okay, I need a job. I got to make some money. Let me go find a job. And then you're trying to fit your life around, you're trying to live a life around a job. So if my job is Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 or from 8 to 5, then I'm trying to fit life into like 5 to, midnight, or when I go to sleep, or I'm trying to fit my life into Saturday or Sunday. That's not thinking ahead. You started with the job and then you said, okay, well, I need to figure out how to fit life around my job. Let me give you an example of starting with a lifestyle. A lifestyle that I wanted, that I decided I wanted in 2017 was, and this, mind you, this is before the pandemic, before remote work was like the thing to do, before remote work was even a topic of conversation. I was working for San Diego County doing job development and developing people, helping them get off of welfare to find jobs in San Diego County, and also developing in partnerships with employers to get people jobs. And so what I was doing, what I realized was, okay, I'm at this office for 9 hours, 10 hours a day. I'm really getting the majority of my work done in 4 hours. And the work that I'm doing, I don't need to be in this office to do it. I either need to be out in the community, or I can be on the phone with the clients that I'm dealing with, or on the phone with my coworkers. So I'm like, why am I driving in traffic for, an hour every day? Why am I forced to sit in this office for an additional 5, 6, 7 hours when I finished my work 4 hours ago? Why is someone telling me when I can go to lunch? Realistically, I should be able to do this job from home. I should be able to do it remotely, and I should be able to set my own hours. And I think I would actually be more productive if I was doing that. And so that's what allowed me to be able to think about the lifestyle. And I said, okay, it's also important that I find meaning and fulfillment in my work. You guys have heard my story. If you haven't, go back and listen to previous episodes about the origins of Thrive After Sports, why I started helping former athletes with their transition out of their sport. But my mindset into it was, let me start with the lifestyle and let me create my career or my business around that. So what did I do? I started Thrive After Sports. And you guys know it was a long journey. I started Thrive After Sports, and I worked with athletes remotely. Still to this day, I'm at home right now. I'm at my house recording content. After this, I have coaching calls for the rest of the day. And this is how I earn my living remotely. I work my own hours and I'm doing something that I enjoy, helping a group of people that I enjoy helping with curriculum and services that I created. Started with ideas on my couch. Thrive After Sports was an idea in my head before it became that book you see behind me, before it became a podcast, before it became coaching, before I was ever in universities. It was just an idea. So that's my advice. Start with the lifestyle that you want and build your job or your career around the lifestyle. Now, I know some of you guys are thinking, well, that's easy for you to say, Taj. You have your own business. I have bills to pay. I have kids. Guys, you're going to have bills no matter what. You're going to have bills no matter what. The bills are going to be there. So at the end of the day, you think I didn't have bills when I started Thrive After Sports? Now, here's the caveat with that. You always want to build on the side. Use those hours. If you work 9 to 5, when you get home at 5 o'clock, build until midnight. I'm not saying don't relax or take time to unwind, but don't waste time. Invest your time in building that side hustle until the side hustle becomes the main hustle, and then you can quit your job and leave your job. You guys know my story about Thrive After Sports. I did it the wrong way. I had an idea and I said, you know what? This is a great idea. F this job. I'm quitting this job. I'm going to start this business and this is a great idea. No one's ever thought of helping athletes like this before. I'm going full speed ahead. And I went full speed ahead into being broke. All right. Going into $20,000 worth of debt. The shame of having to move out of my apartment that I was living in. My girlfriend and I were living together. She's not my wife, by the way. Shout out to her for holding me down through those rough times. That's why I had to put a ring on it. Because I'm like, she loved me when we went broke, had to move out of the apartment, when her mother had to come help us move out of the apartment. The look in her eyes of, damn, my daughter is with a dude who started a business on a whim, went broke, and can't even afford this apartment anymore. And now my daughter's moving back in with me. That was the look in her mother's eyes. So if I can go through that by doing it ass backwards and quitting my job before I even had a profitable business, you can for sure keep your job or build your business on the side. For those of you who don't have a job right now, maybe you're living at home with a family member, mom and dad, grandma, whoever it is. As sad as it may seem, as much as I know you want to get back on your own feet and, be your own man and be your own woman and have income and have your own job, you're in a great position. You're in a great position to be able to really start with the clarity about the lifestyle you want before you go get a job. And now you move out and now you're like, damn, I have to keep going to this job because I have to pay my bills. I have to pay my rent. All that type of stuff adds pressure. And the time where you're at home living with the family member is the perfect time for you to be able to build, because you don't have to worry about money right away. It gives you time to build and really get ahead, get a jump start on whatever it is that you want to do, whether that's, a job or a business. You have time. So where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, because I know I was saying some of you guys might be listening to this being like, that's easy for you to say, Taj. I can't guys, I just told you about the situation with having to move out of the apartment. When I moved back in, so she moved back in with her family. I moved back in with my parents. And I know I'm fortunate. A lot of people don't have that. I was fortunate that I had a family that let me not only move back in after college while I built myself up, got some money, got back on my feet, but they let me move back in after I went broke trying to start a business. That's a blessing. I don't take that for granted. I know not everybody has that, but I'm trying to explain to you that I had to put the work in to be able to create this life for myself. And maybe that's what I'm really getting at here. I want you, if you don't take anything else away from this episode, I want you to take away that we all have the ability to create our lives, to create the life that we want. Is it always easy? No. Does it always happen quickly? No. A lot of times it doesn't. If you really want a certain lifestyle, if you really want to earn a living off of creating your own schedule, creating a life that works for you. Not everybody wants to work from home like me. Some people need to be around a team, but there are certain things about your job, or even if you don't have a job, certain things that you envision for yourself in a career or in a business that are non-negotiable. So what are your non-negotiables? For me, I'm not driving to an office every day. I'm not putting on a suit and tie. I'm not going to have somebody tell me when I can go to lunch. Y'all got me fired up. I had to pause. I had to stop the record button and take a few deep breaths so I could calmly move on to my next point. My next point is this. If you choose the wrong thing, you're wasting your time. Or if you choose something only for money, but you don't have anything bigger at play, you're wasting your time. Here's an example. If you come back home from college or you're in a career right now and you quit your job and you go to another job that doesn't have any of the non-negotiables that you were looking for. So let me explain. What I used to do was I would get into a job and I would say, "Oh, this job sucks. They're micromanaging me. I don't like it. This isn't the." I look at my bosses and I don't see myself being in their role 5, 10, 15 years from now. So what am I even doing here? Basically, it's the analogy of I'm climbing the wrong ladder. I'm climbing the ladder, but the ladder is leaning up against the wrong wall. So that's why I say if you choose the wrong thing, you're wasting your time. And a lot of people choose the wrong thing because they're desperate to just get anything. Damn, I need some money. Let me just take this job and I can do what I want to do later down the line. No, take your time, choose the right thing. When you're choosing a job, it either needs to be related to where you see yourself going long term and not just financially. I'm talking lifestyle, I'm talking level of fulfillment, all of that. It either needs to be related to that or it needs to be something that helps you pay your bills, but leaves you with enough time and energy to be able to build on what you really want when you're not there. Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense right now. Those are the two options. Never just get a job because, oh, I need some money. Okay. Either the job is related to where you want to go long term, or it gives you money and allows you the flexibility or freedom, or at least you have the mental energy to be able to build on where you really want to go. So as an example, I told you when I started Thrive After Sports, went broke, moved back in with the family, was broke for many years, guys, really trying to, I've really only been profitable and able to earn a living off of Thrive After Sports since 2019, maybe even early 2020, right before the pandemic hit is when I was actually at a place where like, I could live on my own again. I was earning good income. And then when the pandemic hit, this is one of those, if you build it, they will come type of things. With all those athletes not being able to compete, my business took off. Different opportunities to speak, more people reaching out to work with me, more sponsorships. So really it's 2023 now. Only the past 3 years, I'll say, let's just say a solid 3 years, I've been profitable. The first two, guys, ugly. But back to my point, it was ugly. But here's what I did. When I moved back in with my parents, after going broke and having to move out, what I did was instead of being like, okay, I'm trying to build this business. I'm back home. I don't have any expenses. Now I still chipped in with groceries and, I wanted to have money, like pocket change to, my car got repossessed. I had to get another car. I had to pay my phone bill so I could work off of my phone, build my business. Right. So what I did was instead of being like, okay, I have all this experience with recruiting and sales, I'm just going to go get a corporate job while I'm living back at my parents' house trying to build my business. Instead of doing that, I said, no, I can't do that because I know if I go that route, it's going to leave me too drained. There's no way I could work, 40 plus 50 hours a week and then still have the energy to build a business because I'll be too drained from doing a recruiting or a sales job when I come home at 5 or 6 o'clock. By the time I have dinner at 7, take a shower, 7:30, unwind a little bit. Now it's 8 o'clock. I'm going to be ready to go to sleep, especially if I have a commute. So what I did was I said, okay, let me go get a manual labor job. Why? I'm busy. You can't see me. If you're watching the video, your boy is still in shape. I got this hoodie on right now, but if I take the hoodie off, I still look like I could play a football game right now. But I got a manual labor job installing glass shower doors. I was carrying 100-pound, 150-pound plates of glass, driving around all day, all over Southern California, installing it, carrying tools, all that type of stuff. I did it because the hours were super flexible. And I could be like, hey, I only work these hours a week. So I might work like 3 or 4 days a week. Some of them were 12-hour days. Sometimes I could work half days, super flexible with the schedule. And I could build it around my most flexible hours. So a lot of times I would work on Thrive After Sports in the morning, making content, doing outreach, reaching out to universities, writing my first book, recording podcast episodes, coaching clients. I was doing all of that in the morning. And then afternoon, evening time, I would go to the manual labor job. Or let's say if I worked, or I might take a whole Monday off. So Saturday, Sundays, and Mondays were my Thrive After Sports days. Tuesday through Friday, I was, working on that glass installation job, doing manual labor. Even if I started in the morning and I wrapped up around 5 or 6 o'clock, my mind was still so fresh because all I was doing was using my body all day. I was, I'm in great shape and it was a workout for me. So it's not like it was super mentally or emotionally draining. It's just like I put myself in position to be able to build my business by finding something to make ends meet that left me fresh to build the business and gave me flexibility. Do you see what I mean? Sometimes I would, because there was so much driving, we would have to drive from house to house to install the glass. Sometimes I would even, be working on content or doing coaching calls while I was driving from one job to another. Right. So that's what I mean by choose the right thing. And if you don't, you're wasting your time. If you go into something for money, you guys have heard me use this analogy time and time again, but if you go into something for money as an athlete, you're going to be great at it no matter what. You're going to get burned out eventually, but you're going to be great. But back to the analogy of, having your ladder leaning against the right wall. It's like if you were a football player and now you're trying to become a professional bowler. You can be great at it because you're athletic, but like you don't really want to do that. You want to be a football player. So like for me, wanting to be a coach, it doesn't make sense for me to be like, okay, I know I want to be a coach and I want to help other athletes, but I want to go get my real estate license. Why would I do that? Unless I had a plan to like do real estate on the side while I built Thrive After Sports. But see, there's a thought process there that lends itself to short-term thinking. If you're just jumping into the first thing that you can get your hands on because they're going to give you a check and you just stay stuck there. Well, let me take that back. Let me not use the word stuck. You're never stuck. But what happens is you may be locked into a pattern of running from, I call it running from the nightmare, but you don't have a dream that you're running towards. That's the pattern that I was in. It was, this job sucks. I'm going to look for other jobs while I'm on the clock because I don't know what I want to do, but I got to get the hell out of here. That's what I do know. I got to get out of here. That's running from the nightmare without running towards a dream. But once I had the dream of Thrive After Sports, okay, the nightmare, I'm not doing corporate. So I'm running from that nightmare, but I'm running towards the dream of Thrive After Sports, which impacts how I make my decisions. And this is the last thing I'll leave you with. You have plenty of time. Now, that doesn't mean don't be intentional. That doesn't mean waste your time. Because I want you to be intentional about how you're using your time and investing your time in yourself and in your future self, but don't feel this pressure of, oh, I'm running out of time. That followed me around for so long like a dark cloud. I just really felt like I was running out of time. Guys, I was so afraid. Like by the time I started Thrive After Sports, I was already 5 years removed from college. I was 27, I believe. I was 27. I'll be 32 very soon. So I was 5 years removed from college. And at the age of 27, when I even had the idea for Thrive After Sports, I was so afraid of turning 30. I was like, man, by the time I'm 30, I should have a house. I should be making six figures. I should be like, and by the time I turned 30, I really just had my first good year of being profitable in business. So don't be afraid of 30. Like at the end of the day, all of us might live to be 100 years old with modern medicine. So you have plenty of time. Don't put that pressure on yourself of, oh, I got to have it figured out, and beating yourself up if you haven't figured it out yet, or you're not where you think you're supposed to be yet. As cheesy as it sounds, you're exactly where you're supposed to be, but you're also in full control of where you are. You get what I'm saying? So you have a responsibility to be able to put yourself in the best position possible, but wherever you're at, as long as you're laying your head on the pillow at night, knowing you did the best you can, then at the end of the day, you don't have to feel bad about that. You just keep planting seeds every single day. All right. So I love you guys. I'm going to leave it at that. If you need assistance, reach out to me. Like I always tell you, you can just email me, taj@tajdeshawn.com. Probably the best place for you to reach out. Or just hit me up on LinkedIn, Instagram, Taj Deshawn on all platforms. Guys, I consider myself the best in the business when it comes to helping athletes transition. I mean, it would be a problem if I didn't feel that way, right? If I was like, well, I'm kind of good. I mean, maybe I can help you figure some things out after you're done playing your sport. I don't even know where that voice came from, but it would be a problem if I didn't sit here and tell you that I think I'm the best when it comes to helping athletes figure out the next steps in life. I'm the best to ever do it. All right. I know a lot of great people in the business and everyone helps in different ways. But when it comes to sitting down one-on-one, coaching you on how you're going to thrive after sports, not just survive, but thrive, not just get a job, but find a fulfilling path that you can put yourself on, whether that's related to work or career or business or not. I'm talking about waking up and balling in life like you used to ball on the field or on the court or whatever sport you played. That's what I'm talking about. I'm the best to ever do it. So reach out to me. Visit the website, tajdeshawn.com. Look at all the testimonials of athletes I worked with. If you don't have money to pay to work with me, don't worry about it. I got you covered. I got sponsorships and scholarships available to be able to coach for free. And at the end of the day, sometimes I can help you with the free phone call. You go on the website, click schedule a free call, whether you're an athlete, a former athlete, the parent of an athlete, a coach, friend of an athlete, you got a brother or a sister or a sibling or a friend who you know is struggling to figure out who they are outside of that jersey. Have them reach out, hit me up. I'm here. I got you guys. All right. I love you. Appreciate you. Once again, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you got any value out of it, please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please subscribe to my podcast. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, make sure you subscribe to Taj Deshawn on YouTube. Help spread this message, guys. I'm on a mission. This is my life's work. I want to help serve as many former athletes as possible so they don't have to go through the BS that I went through. With that being said, I love you guys. I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.